Hello everyone, this is Dennis at Boulder Sounds. I'm going to give you a brief tour of the Buffalo Drum Hits and Loops library in Apple Loops format, and the hits were converted into XS24 software sampler format. So to install the loops is very simple. I'm currently in Logic 9. If you go up to the media icon in the right hand corner of Logic, make sure it's clicked and you see the various tabs that are available for the media, and we want the loops tabs enabled. And what I'm going to do is just go to my desktop here where it says Buffalo Drum Apple Loops, and I'm just going to drag it to the browser, and it asks me, do I want to move the loops to the loops folder or run them from the current location? The choice is entirely up to you. For me, I'm going to cancel out because I've already installed these loops for sake of the demo. It's also a good idea once you install new loops to re-index the Apple loops. So what you do is hold down the control key, click in the browser area with your mouse, and it says re-index loops user library, and then you can follow that procedure from there. It's very simple. You just have to typically enter your password for your user account on your Mac. Okay, now next we want to find the loops. So if I go over to my loop browser, you can see where it says signature. We have 4/4 time, and also the Buffalo drums are offered in 6/8 time down here. But let's just choose 4/4, so that's a filter. You click on that, type in the word buff, B-U-F-F, hit return, and it should show you all the Buffalo drums in 4/4 time in this column. And as you know, if you've ever used Apple Loops, you just click on a listing for a file and it'll play. And so on. So if you scan down with me, I'll just go over this very quickly. We have brush hits, we have brush plus stick hits. Those are combinations. We have hand hits. And then notice it says brush 2 times. What that is, that's the same loop played at double speed. So you can get some very cool rhythms going by placing the original speed against the double speed loop. And the numbers all match up. So for example, Buffalo drum 2 times, brush 004 matches the same thing, Buffalo drum 1 times 004. And we go all the way up to 3 times. So you can hear the loop original speed, double speed, and triple speed. The triple speed are very useful for fills and very quick passages. So if I just scroll down here, and if you notice down here, we have also in the 4/4 time signature, we have Buffalo drum 3 against 2. And it's the same process. We have 1 times, 2 times, and 3 times speed. These were created from the 6/8 loop material, but they were treated differently in recycle made by propeller heads before it was converted to an Apple loop. And so we go down that list and we have the same kind of presentation. We have 2 times, 3 times, there's some brushes, hand, and of course the 3 times are, they're pretty quick. And so on. Of course, the tempo at which you're previewing the loops is dependent on the tempo of Logic. So these, as you can see, to hear them at their original speed, intended speed, is actually at 80 beats per minute on the 3 against 2. So if I type in 80 and then I audition those 3-time loops, they won't be quite as frantic. Some of the 3-time loops are actually slightly spastic, but the majority of them are extremely usable. So I'm going to show you just a quick example of using the 6/8 loops. Make sure your signature, where it says signature, the filter is set to 6/8. And then in the search field, just type the word buff, B-U-F-F, hit return, and there's all your 6/8 loops. Originally at 60 beats a minute. And I'm just going to randomly drag something in there. Good enough. Don't have to import the tempo information. And I'll just loop that. Let's just do that for 8 bars. Let's take another 6/8 loop, and this time I'll use brush. Let's use hand. Okay, number 3, I'm just randomly choosing these. And I will make that an 8-bar loop and see what we get in terms of sound. Okay, pretty cool. Let's use another one-time loop to get a really thick texture. So here's 6/8. Yeah, let's use another hand loop. Let's find one. It's kind of interesting. So I'll put that here on track 3. I'll just loop it for 8 bars. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. Pan it slightly. Okay, so that's not bad, just for random testing. That's kind of the fun of all this loop building is, at least for me, I like to just drag things around and just see what comes up. So now I'm going to go to 2-time loops. Okay, that's kind of cool. Bring that into the next track, and I'm just going to put that in the second measure. That one works for me. Put that in the 4th measure. And maybe I'll copy the first one. Okay. And let's see what we get now. Okay, kind of interesting. Here's a little trick you could do. Probably a lot of people are much better versed in Apple loops than I am, but this is something I was experimenting with, which is kind of fun. I'm going to copy these loops, bring them down to the track below. And I'm going to pan this left, pan this one right, and I'm going to transpose them. I'm going to drop this down 5 semitones, and this one I'm going to bring up 7 semitones. And let's just see what we get. Maybe I'll drop the volume back just a bit on these. So now I'm soloing the one track. And here's the track that I transposed up, soloed. I could use a little more volume. Put put those together. They're sort of like little fills. And here's with the whole 8-bar groove. Okay, not too bad for just messing around. Now also with your Apple loops, don't forget that you can quantize the audio to make it swing. What you're hearing right now is straight, there's no swing. And you have flex mode with all sorts of options available for each track. So right here, you'll notice I've got flex mode enabled and I had it set to slicing. And the quantize I have set to 16th note C. Those are different degrees of swing, and that gives you quite a bit of a different feel. Maybe a bit faster. And now here's that same groove with the swing quantization put on it with one of my favorite UAD plugins. This is the EMT140. That's dry. Here's kind of a fun groove that I built using 4/4 time at 90 beats a minute. I'll just let you hear it first and then I'll talk about it. Okay, so in the first track, I'll solo that track. You can see I've transposed it down 5 semitones. I've used quantization to 16th notes. Therefore, I had to use flex mode, and it's percussive is checked off, and also monophonic. Okay, and you'll notice at the end of each measure, there's a little fade, which does a slowdown type effect. So that little whoop at the end of each measure is the slowdown. So track 3 is the same track, but on track 3 I transposed it up 12 semitones, so it's going to be higher. I'm using flex mode, and I have the flex mode set to monophonic. Here they are together. Okay. Track 3, these are acting like little fills at the end of every 2 measures. And the second track I have just set to flex mode slicing to quantize it. And the 4th track I have set to flex mode as well, but it uses something called tempophone. And you can select a grain size here. You can create lots of interesting effects. So this is what that one sounds like. And then here's those two combined. And here's everything. Favorite EMT plugin. Okay, and last but not least, here's the XS24 instrument with the buffalo drum hits. So the intention of this instrument is so you can add in your own fills or create your own rhythms. It's a pretty thoroughly sampled drum, you know, in the traditional sense of sampling. So you can use that combined with the loops. Gives you a lot of flexibility. So if I go into edit mode, you can see this with more visual representation. Notice here at G#3, it's empty. That's your null point. And everything to the left of that, these are articulations hit on the left side of the drum. Everything to the right is the right side of the drum. So if I play G3, that's a brush stroke hit on the left side. And A3, it's a brush stroke on the right side. So it moves in a mirrored fashion. If you just watch the keyboard. And these are, of course, multi-velocity samples, 3 round robins per hit, so there's plenty of articulations to choose from, as you can see. So I hope this officially enters me into the realm of deep sampling, because that is the goal of my life, to be a deep sampler, to graduate from shallow sampling. Just kidding. Sorry, I couldn't resist the sarcasm. So let me just show you some of the mirrored pairs. So here's left, right, left, right, left. And you can see on the screen the left and right is highlighting up. There's some swirls. Very small 2.5 octave keyboard, so I'm out of keys. I'm going to move up a little bit on the right side. And there you go. So there's a lot of flexibility when you use these combined with the Apple loops. So thank you very much for watching the demo, and best wishes to you from Boulder, Colorado.